Hey, what's up, USA, International, Canada, Long Island, aka Strong Island, plus the five spots of Brooklyn, Bronx, Manhattan, Staten Island, and Queens. This is your man, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator, YouTuber, host with the most misunderstood lonely nomad, man who knows the back doors of the Q5 and N24 buses, unstoppable independent podcaster, and of course, Queens, New York native of Laurelton, Queens, New York. And yes, you are rocking and listening and tuning into the 68th episode of Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, the Sports Edition show. And of course, Merry Christmas, everybody from all over. And and I hope everybody got their shopping done already. I know I probably did as much as I could, but you get the gist. But one moment, please. Yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, sorry about that. It's it's a plane that was flying by my house. That's why. Um, yes. So if you are tuning into the podcast, whether you are tuning in live and direct from StreamYard and YouTube, and the other side of me is the Instagram live feed. Make sure you turn your notifications on the Sports Podcast Show page on the gram. That way you'll be able to know when I'll be on Instagram live and to details on which episode is going to be dropping. All right. So hang on one second here. Yes. Yes. As I was saying, make sure you turn your notifications on the gram so you could be able to know when each episode is going to be dropping and some details of some sports topics that's included in especially in today's episode and the next couple episodes, of course. Yes, I'm gonna still try to cover a little bit of like everything that went down during the off season, which I'm still going to cover, of course. I'm not gonna really do too much football or basketball as much, but um, but still, I am going to be covering some um baseball seasons and stuff like that. So don't worry about that. Um, yes, if you are new to the YouTube channel universe and you miss any previous episodes whatsoever, don't worry, I got your back. All you need to do is go ahead and subscribe to the sports YouTube channel page for more live podcast sports episodes on there. All right. And also leave a like and a comment along with the episodes in case you miss any of them. And tell a friend to another friend. And make sure you grab alerts so you can be notified on when I will be starting each podcast recording, including the date, day, and time. All right. And make sure you listen, stream, and watch these episodes in case you miss any of them whatsoever. And also be sure to um share the episodes, share the videos, and of course not only download the episodes, but also you can add the podcast, this sports podcast, onto your playlist like Spotify. You have Deezer, you have Audible, Odyssey, you have Castbox FM, you have Capsule FM. You have um a variety of streaming platforms, including Amazon Music and iHeartRadio and YouTube included. So that way you will be notified on each new episodes that will be dropping. So there you have it right there. Now, yes. So tell a friend to another friend, and I handle at the end of the podcast show. All right. So let me cut to the chase, man, because we got some we got some crazy ass rumors, man, that we need to cover here. We got some crazy ass rumors and stuff, man. And this is crazier than than anything that I ever heard in sports history regarding Pete Alonso. So yeah, this is crazy, man. This is like one of the uh one of the most annoying things about being an athlete in baseball. You get sick to your stomach about all these rumors and shit. So let's get into it right here. In this segment right here, we have rumor alerts in the air regarding Pete Alonso. Oops, sorry. Yeah. All right. Let's cut to the chase. Um, for that, let me let this shit pass. All right, here we go. Um, according to Sports Kita, um, New York Mets All-Star first baseman Pete Alonso is expected to be a free agent following the 2024 season. He is expected to draw interest from several teams, but will the Mets let him get that far? The two sides have not yet discussed a long-term extension this offseason. Owner Steve Cohen hopes to get to that at some point this year, as Alonso is one of the best sluggers in the league. Um, and he says, in quote, Alonso is with us for another year. We hope we work things out. In 2023, Pete Alonso had a solid year at the plate. He appeared in 154 games and hit 217, 318, 504 with 46 home runs and 118 RBIs. While his batting average was a career low, he was 7 home runs short of tying a career high. Um, while um many underarching teams will often make a drastic decision like trading away one of their superstars, the Mets do not have that in the plans. They see Pete Alonso as their starting first baseman heading into opening day. It would be tough to move on from somebody who has been a cornerstone of the organization since he arrived in 2019. During his 5-year career, he has become a three-time All-Star and Rookie of the Year, MLB home run leader, and NL RBI leader. Alonso has also won the home run derby twice, 2019 and 2021. The Florida Gator product has been a slugging machine since he entered the league and does not look to be stopping anytime soon. Um, and if the Mets want to keep Alonso long term, they will have to offer him a deal he cannot turn down. He is too valuable to this team to let walk in free agency. Okay, so there's more. And of course, the Bleacher Report. Um, the New York Mets and first baseman Pete Alonso have reportedly not had any contracts discussions at all this offseason as the slugger prepares for free agency next winter. Tim Healy of Newsday reported it's not clear whether the Mets plan on approaching Alonso about an extension this offseason. Alonso has been open about his desire to remain in New York over the long term, excuse me. Um he spent his first 5 seasons with the Mets, emerging as one of the premier power hitters in all of baseball. Um, and yes, I love it here. I love New York. It's been such a blessing and an honor to be part of this organization, Alonso told reporters in September. New York, it doesn't just feel like home. Because it is home. Like New York for my family and it just means so much. And it's really been Citifields a great place to play. The fans are super passionate and care so much, and the whole city of New York has been super welcoming to my family and I. It's been an honor. It's been nothing short of an honor, and it's been awesome. For me, the only thing really I've been focusing on, I just want to be the best player that I can be every single day for my teammates, this organization, and the fans. The Mets have scaled back their aggressiveness this offseason after their disappointing 75-87 record in 2023. Um, New York jettisoned several high cost veterans at the trade deadline in an attempt to pair payroll to get back on the right track on the field. But it's expected the Mets will again struggle to compete in the NL East next season. Bob Nightingale of USA Today reported the Mets have not engaged other teams in trade talks, but several GMs believe they would listen if another team came with an offer. Um, And Alonso's shaky long-term future with the franchise will only add to the uncertainty. It's possible Alonso winds up being more trade fodder come July if the Mets are looking to recoup prospect value. Hmm. Okay, let's head to the quick side bleacher bar. We got some Mets updates to get to. Consider those rumors debunked. All right, some more Mets stuff that's been going on. They did acquire some players, of course, to go on the roster, which we'll get to. Starting with Zach Short, which I had no idea who he is, but hang on one second. Okay, so according to Mets Mesmerize online, in the early afternoon, news broke that the Mets plan to hire Carlos Mendoza as its next manager. I'll talk about that in a further episode in the future. Um, but this is about Zach Short. Um, then it was reported Adam Ottavino would decline his player option and likely not play with the Mets again. The Mets kept cooking, though, as waiver went through, claiming infielder Zach Short from the Detroit Tigers. Um, the 28-year-old Scott is known as a solid defender, but his bat leaves a lot to be desired. He has 174, 266, 308, 575 career slash line, including just a 631 OPS and ample playing time with the Tigers last year. In 2023 alone, he played second, third, shortstop, right field, center field, and he pitched 6 separate times. He pitched at Sacred Heart University. He called pitching in a blowout is the most nervous he's been in a baseball game. If he plays in New York, it would be a bit of a homecoming, as he's from Kingston, New York. Hmm. Um, never heard of that area, but not to be confused with the Kingston area in Jamaica, the island. Um, a 17th round draft pick by the Chicago Cubs in 2016, Short worked his way through the Cubs system before being traded to Detroit for Cameron Maben. If he logs a hit beyond 12 feet, he'll have seen more success as a Met than Maben did. Um, yeah, yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. All right. So a couple of days ago, the Mets placed a handful of 40-man roster guys on waivers. Two of those were relievers, Bryce Montes de Oka, who was recovering from Tommy John surgery, and Peyton Battenfield. They both cleared waivers and were sent to AAA. Four four others also cleared waivers but elected free agency. Those were John Curtis, um, Danny Reyes, Alicia Elisa Hernandez, and Tim LaCastro to Syracuse, I believe. Um, After these moves, the Mets 40-man roster sits at 33, including all 60-day injured list players who once again count toward the 40-man count. At the start of free agency. Well, okay. Now before we even go to more of man, before we go to more of the thing, because nah, we'll see. Um, okay, so let's get to Tomas Nido. Um, okay, we have so the Mets will have a familiar face in the minor leagues to provide organizational catching depth. Tomas Nido cleared waivers Friday. The team announced and accepted an outright assignment to AAA Syracuse. The catcher, um, the catcher designated for assignment Monday when Armand Narvaez returned from the injured list. Nido could have refused the outright to become a free agent, but that would have meant giving up the remainder of the 2-year contract worth $3.7 million he received from the Mets last offseason. Nido didn't have minor league options remaining, but as a player with less than 5 years major league experience, was eligible for outright and is off the 40-man roster. Selfishly, I'm excited for us, manager Buck Showalter said before the Mets fell to the Pirates 14-7. Damn. At PNC Park on Friday night. We get another quality major league catcher and keep him in the organization. I know Tomas was hoping he would get picked up or somebody would trade for him. It doesn't mean it still can't happen. A lot of that stuff is timing, but I know what we think of him regardless of what somebody else does. Um Nido, age 29, became expendable with rookie Francisco Alvarez's emergence as Narvaez was on the IL for 2 months, rehabbing from a strained left calf. The Mets also briefly had veteran catcher Gary Sanchez on the roster during Narvaez's absence, and while Nido was on the IL with dry eye syndrome, a condition he rectified with new contact lenses. Um, in 22 games for the Mets this season, Nido um a 125 owned a 125, 153, 125 slash line. The Mets have valued him mostly for his defense and framing skills during his career. Um, in need of bullpen help a day after they used 6 relievers in their 13-10 loss to the Braves in 10 innings. The Mets recalled left-hander Zach um, Munkenheim, Munkenhorn, Merkenhorn, excuse me, Merkenhorn, Hearn, yeah, Merkenhorn, excuse me, from AAA Syracuse. He gave up 3 runs on 6 hits over two and one-third innings Friday. Steven Nagosic was designated for assignment. All right. Edwin Uceta underwent surgery to repair a torn meniscus in his left knee. The reliever will the reliever likely will be sidelined from game action from the next 8 weeks. Jeez. That's crazy, man. Um, nah. All right, let's get to this one. Hang on a second here. Okay, next. Since being called, this is from AMNY, the website here. Since being called up to the majors earlier this month, Brett Baty has gotten the starting nod at third base in 6 of the Mets' previous 8 games, entering Wednesday night's meeting with the Washington Nationals since making his big league season debut on April 17th. It certainly suggests that he's getting the chance to run away with the starting job rather than being a setup platoon. But Mets manager Buck Showalter is just playing the matchups. It's not strict, he said about the platoon. We'll pick up some spots there. Both of them really. We want to use both their skills and make sure that I don't close the door on anybody. We're going to need both of them. Beatty, who gets the night off on Wednesday in favor of Escobar, has sputtered out of the gates, batting 250 with a 572 OPS and 2 RBI. Yet it's a step up from Escobar, who was batting 145. Um, the organization's number 2 ranked prospect, however, has gone just 1 for 6 against left-handed pitching this season, prompting Showalter to utilize the switch hitting capabilities of Escobar. Each of Escobar's last 3 starts since Beatty's call-up has come against lefties. J.P. Sears of the Oakland Athletics, Clayton Kershaw of the Los Angeles Dodgers, and Sean Mania of the San Francisco Giants. Mackenzie Gore, who who toes the rubber for the Nationals on Wednesday night, is also a lefty. Escobar went 3 for 11 with 1 home run and 2 RBI over the previous 3 starts. I've got some thoughts as we go forward, depending on where the matchups lie a little bit. So, what to say? What's tough with some people, Brett doesn't have a big sampling, and Escobar sometimes. A guy might hit left-handed pitching real well in the minor leagues, but not the left-handed pitching up there. There are a lot of variables here. Um, yeah, it's crazy, man. Um, yes, that's crazy though. So, in case you've been wondering what happened with Escobar, he's with the Angels now. So, as I talked about in episode 63 already. Um, so the Mets announced Friday that they have traded infielder Eduardo Escobar. New York has sent Escobar in cash consideration to the Los Angeles Angels for right-handed pitchers Coleman Crowe and Landon Marceau. Um, the Mets are paying all of Escobar's salary except the required minimum in order to get the prospects they wanted, S according to SNY's Andy Martino. Escobar signed a 2-year, $20 million deal with the Mets prior to the 2022 season. The 2 seasons have been a rough go for the veteran infielder in Queens. In 2022, Escobar hit 240 with 20 home runs and 69 RBIs. Many Mets fans will not forget the month of Escobar in September when he slashed 340, 393, 649 with 8 home runs and 24 RBI across 26 games. In 2023, Escobar struggled out the gate and eventually lost his everyday job to rookie Brett Baty. In 110 at bats, Escobar slashed 236, 286, 695 with 4 home runs and 16 RBIs. The trade occurred during the Mets Phillies series opener, and Francisco Lindor was asked about it when he was mic'd up for the broadcast. He's one of the best teammates I've ever had, he said. We're going to miss him a lot. Um, and as for the pitchers, the Mets are getting back. Crow is ranked as the Angels' number 17 prospect, according to Baseball America, and number 19 prospect, according to MLB Pipeline. He's also ranked as the organization's number 8 prospect, according to Fangraphs. The 22-year-old right-hander has made 4 starts for Double A Rocket City in 2023, going 2-0 with a 1.88 ERA, 6 walks, and 31 strikeouts. Crow has been on the IL since the end of April. His last start was April 26th, where he gave up 2 home runs in 7 innings while striking out 6 batters. Marceau Marceau was the Angels' number 20 ranked prospect per Baseball America and MLB Pipeline. The 23-year-old has made 12 starts for Double A Rocket City this season and is 3-6 with a 4.88 ERA. His last start came on June 16th, where he went 6 innings, gave up 7 hits, 3 runs, 1 walk, and struck out 6. Okay. Now, let me get to Steve Cohen, man, because a lot of people have been having some oppositions about the idea of having a casino near Citifield. But I don't know, man. Like this is a hard one for me to choose actually. And before I go into whether it's a good idea or a bad idea of the casino being near City Field, I want to address something actually. In case you are wondering um why I have a little bit of tape on my sunglasses. It had my sunglasses had popped. So I had to do a little fixing yesterday while I was at work. So I had to do a little bit of that so I don't have to, not have any sunglasses left for me to actually wear to. So that way, I don't have to that way I don't really have to, worry about showing my red eyes and stuff. And hopefully in the future I may end up getting some new sunglasses too. So who knows? I just wanted to address this so nobody don't really ask me, you know what I'm saying? So that's pretty much what that is. Hold on. According to the website Fox 5 NY, New York New York Mets owner Steve Cohen has proposed building a $8 billion casino next to City Field, but at a town hall on Monday. People living nearby the proposed site spoke out at a town hall to oppose the project over crime fears. Um, yeah, crime fears my ass. Um, yeah, crime fears my ass. Anyway, let me. Yeah, $8 billion is very interesting to build a casino. Um, anyway, yeah, so Cohen is partnering with Hard Rock and wants to transform a 50-acre parking lot into an entertainment complex, including a casino, hotel, music hall, mall, food court, affordable housing, and a park. The project is also supported by construction workers who say that not only will it create jobs in that field, but that it will benefit other New Yorkers as well. It's estimated the project will create over 15,000 jobs. This is going to produce long-term jobs for the people who live in Corona, Queens, East Elmhurst, for the people that are going to want to work in these hotels, work in the casinos, said Dave Sands with Local 3 Electricians Union. Um, State Senator Jessica Ramos of Queens is holding several town halls before she decides if she will support the project. However, one community organization is accusing the senator of already siding with the owner of the Mets. We are calling on Senator Ramos to flatly oppose a casino being brought to our community, said Joseph Jung with Flatbush Anti Displacement Alliance. I have not made a decision yet, Ramos said in response. There's going to be another town hall, so the discussion will continue. I am in no rush. The project is privately funded and will require multiple regulatory and political approvals. If it clears those hurdles, construction will not begin for several years. Hmm. Yeah, that's crazy, man. That's very crazy. Um, that's very crazy, man. But not as crazy as this. Um, it's getting to the it's getting to that point of the baseball calendar. This is a recap of what went down actually. This is more of a recap actually. So um so please forgive me. This is more of a recap. Um let's see. Okay. It's getting to that point of the baseball calendar where it is still early enough to remind yourself and all of your panicky friends that it is a long season, that there are still 130 games left. That 1 month is not is no time to start building basement shelters for protection from the falling sky. But it's also deep enough to acknowledge some troubling realities. Um, and and the Mets on the fifth of May will wake up with a hangover of troubling realities. It hasn't quite matched up yet, Justin Verlander said inside the visitors' clubhouse at Detroit's Comerica Park Thursday afternoon. Um, we've done everything well at certain points in time, but we haven't been pitching well night in, night in and night out, or hitting well night in and night out. Verlander was the man of the moment, appearing for the first time as a Met at the ballpark where he'd gained his first burst of stardom against a team for whom he won Rookie of the Year, one of his three Cy Youngs, and an MVP. And he was perfectly fine across 80 pitches, in which he touched 97 miles per hour once and sat mostly at 95. 5 innings, 2 runs, 5 hits, 5 strikeouts. Um, but when he allowed 2 home runs in the space of 3 pitches in the bottom of the first off a curveball to Riley Green and a fastball to old friend Avi Baez, there was little reason to keep up with the game. The Mets bats were muffled again. The sixth time in 32 games, they've been shut out. Eduardo Rodriguez manhandling them across 8 innings. Verlander settled down after that early dusting, and one takeaway should be that he'll be at or near where the Mets expected him to be from here. But there's another takeaway too. The Mets are scuffling. They are taking a slew of terrible at bats, and heading into Thursday, they suffered from the worst starting pitching through 31 games since the 62 Mets. It's kind of a bad thing when you can't hit and you can't pitch, and there isn't a single favorable thing that can happen when you start measuring yourself up against the 62 Mets. look, they are 16-16. They have a gaggle of games against terrible teams. Um, the Mets don't have to go very far to find reminders of just how long the season can be. All they need is to look at their own division. The Phillies were 21-29 on the morning of June 1st last year. On the evening of November 1st, they took a 2-1 lead in the World Series with a 7-zip wipeout of the Astros in front of a delirious home crowd. On August 1st, 2021, the Braves were 52-55 and had already lost their best player, Ronald Acuna Jr., to a busted knee. 94 days later, they crushed the Astros 7-zip to win the World Series. So yes, Cinco de Mayo is a little early to be clanging alarm bells. So, but you can certainly bring them. You can certainly wonder if the 2022 version of the Mets was an ideal that the 23 edition with will be hard pressed to emulate. 32 games is a smallish sample size, but it represents a month, not a week. There are issues that need to be addressed and problems that need to be solved. Plenty of time for both to happen. It just has to happen, or else things may start to get a little uncomfortable at Citifield, where the locals are never shy about audibly expressing their discomfort. It's not good, Brennan Nimmo said, but teams have been in this position before. Nimmo has obviously brushed up on recent NL East history, even if he was remarkably unaware of just how awful a decision it was to try and swipe a base with one out in the ninth. The Mets down 2-zip, Starling Marte up, Francisco Lindor on deck, and Pete Alonso in the hole. Maybe being in Detroit, he was inspired by the ghost of Ty Cobb, but he was thrown out by 3 feet, and the Mets expired a few seconds later. There is probably not a good chance of me doing that in the near future, he sheepishly conceded. But it's just one of a growing pile of bricks the Mets have assembled so far this year, specifically in this 2-9 stretch that has sunk a promising 14-7 start back to sea level just 2 weeks later. Still early, sure. That's the that's the baseball adage of cling to. But one that here's one that'll be in the back of everyone's mind soon enough. If things don't change, it gets late early out there. All right, so okay, next. Um Mets bring back Brooks Raley. The Mets search for bullpen reinforcements begins by retaining one of their own. The club will be picking up Brooks Raley's $6.5 million option, the Post John Heyman reported Friday. The left-hander provided his steady presence in a setup role last season, recording a 2.80 ERA and 61 strikeouts across 54 um, and two-third innings and 66 appearances. He missed 2 weeks in May with left elbow inflammation, but was strong upon returning from the injured list. Um, 35-year-old Raley, after posing 25 holds and 3 saves, should serve as one of the Mets' high leverage options ahead of Edwin Diaz, who missed all of last season with a torn pan- patella patella tendon. Um, yeah, they could also hang on to another veteran in Adam Ottavino. He's not coming back, so who has a $6.75 million player option he must decide on, though either way, they figure to be in the market to add bullpen help. Let's see. Let's see. Yeah, so Let me see. 35 games into the season, the Mets are a losing team. And an already brutal week for manager Buck Showalter's crew became uglier Sunday when the team's thin starting pitching was again exposed, turning the afternoon into a Rockies slugfest against the underbelly underbelly of the bullpen. Um The Mets' brief homestand ended with a 13-6 loss at Citifield that included boos as cascading through the ballpark as the Rockies were seizing control with 7 runs in the fifth inning. Oh, damn. That has to suck right there, man. Okay. With their fifth loss in 6 games and 11th in 14 overall, the Mets fell to 17-18 this season. It's their first time under 500 since the opening week. Only adding to the stench of this plunge, the Mets were swept 3 games by the underwhelming Tigers before losing a home series to the equally uninspiring Rockies. Hmm. The game is challenging us, and we have got a lot of baseball to play, Daniel Vogelbach said. Myself and everybody else in this clubhouse. It's not from a lack of effort or from a lack of want or work putting in. It's just the way it goes sometimes. We have a choice, and I think everybody in here will respond the way everybody wants us to. Um, The Mets will now get seven straight road games against the Reds and Nationals. Two other opponents likely going nowhere this season, but as the last week has displayed, it takes more than just showing up to win. It's not as simple as changing the batting order or playing somebody else or pitching somebody else, Showalter said. There's a lot of things I could say, but it sounds like excuses, and we're not going here. We're not going there. Play better. And that goes for all of us. On this day, the Mets collapsed in the fifth when Jimmy Yacobanis, and Tommy Hunter combined to allow 7 earned runs on 5 hits. Chris Bryant started the onslaught with a 2-run homer against Yacobanis. Ezekiel Tovar stroked the 2-run double, and following Austin on wins RBI single. Brenton Doyle, smashed a 2-run homer against Hunter that buried the Mets in a 10-4 hole. Joey Lucchesi, pitching on short rest after starting Wednesday afternoon in Detroit. Lasted 4 innings and allowed 3 earned runs on 4 hits with 4 strikeouts and 3 walks. It was a second straight shaky appearance for the left-hander, who surrendered 4 runs over 4 innings in his previous appearance. I nailed my recovery for the most part, and I was ready to go, Lucchesi said of the short turnaround. Randall Grichuk's first inning homer into the second deck in left field gave the Rockies a 1-zip lead. Lucchesi allowed 2 runs in the third inning. Jerickson Profar delivered an RBI double before Bryant's single brought in another one. The rally started on a bunt single by Doyle, on which Lucchesi collided with Francisco Alvarez. Vogelbach's miscue on the base paths cost the Mets an opportunity to add on in the first inning after they had already scored 3 times to take a 3-1 lead. Luis Guillorme's single brought in a run, and as Brett Baty was on his way home, Bryant in right field threw behind the runner Vogelbach, who had rounded second base and was tagged out to end the inning without the run scoring. Baty's 2-run single was the inning's big hit after Jeff McNeil had tied it 1-1 with an RBI single. McNeil's infield RBI single gave the Mets a 4-3 lead in the fourth, but with the bases loaded, Pete Alonso was caught looking at strike 3, and Baty was retired to end the threat. Alvarez's double off the left field fence started the rally before Brandon Nimmo was hit by a pitch and Francisco Lindor walked. Guillorme's RBI single in the 5th brought the Mets within 10-5 after Mark Hanna had doubled. Vogelbach homered leading off the 7th to pull the Mets within 11-6 after Hunter had surrendered a run in the top of the frame. It's probably not going to be the last time something like this goes on this season, Vogelbach said. I am not very good at math, but we have got a lot of games left. We're starting to get healthy, and we are starting to get guys back. We just have to stick together, and I think that is something this group does very well. When the game challenges you like this, it's easy to separate and easy to start pointing fingers, and this group doesn't do that. Okay. Yeah, so all right. Going into the 2023 season, the Mets plan on winning ball games with a simple strategy: hit a lot of home runs and have star pitchers go deep into games. And while that strategy has rarely materialized this season, it was easy to see the winning formula as the Mets cruised to a 4-1 victory over the Giants Saturday afternoon at Citifield. Francisco Alvarez opened the scoring for the Mets in the bottom of the third with an opposite field solo home run against the Giants. Starter Anthony D. Sclafani. Brennan Nimmo followed two batters later with a solo home run of his own, his fourth of the homestand and 12th of the season. Not wanting to be left out of the party, Francisco Lindor made it 3 home runs in 4 batters as the Mets swapped um, three swings for a 3-zip lead in the third. Tommy Pham, the most standout Met over the past month, continued his hot streak with an RBI double in the bottom of the fourth that scored Pete Alonso from first base. It was Pham's 10th base hit in 16 at bats, and with the double, he moved into the top on the team in slugging percentage. It was also the Mets' fourth and final hit of the day, as all 4 hits scored runs, and the offense managed only one other base runner all game. The Giants looked to strike back in the top of the fifth, then Tyra Estrada's leadoff single. Blake's Sobel's pop-up fly in foul territory fell into Brett Baty's glove for the first out. And the Mets recorded a second out after Estrada overran second base and neglected to retag, returning to first base after our attempted to steal. Um, it was a rare heads-up moment for a Mets defense struggling to return to their elite form, and it helped Mets starter Justin Verlander record his 5th scoreless inning of the day. After another leadoff single in the top of the 7th, a tailor-made double play under went haywire after Alonso's throw to second sailed into left field, putting runners on first and third with nobody out. The following double play ground up to Lindor to redeem the defense, but at the cost of a run as the Giants cut the lead to 4-1. In one of his best starts of the year, Verlander struck out 6 batters and allowed an unearned run in 7 innings. And likely could have pitched in 8th had it not been for Alonso's stolen error. Verlander's going deep in the game allowed for the Mets to use their preferred relievers, with Drew Smith and Adam Ottavino sailing through the 8th and the 9th as the Mets go one is zip for July. Despite the Mets' offense showing very little outside an explosive third inning, the batters provided enough firepower to support Verlander's strong outing. It was the type of win Mets fans have expected to see much more of throughout the season, and fans can only hope that it's not too late for this team to turn it around. Actually, yes. Okay. All right. Let me see. Let me make sure. Um. Guess we could get into. Let's get into some prospects. Hold on a second here. See if I cover the bases. Yeah, sorry about that. Um. Okay, we're gonna get into um yeah, we already talked about that already. Yeah, we're gonna get into some prospects actually. Let's see. Okay, so the Mets has signed a few prospects actually. Um so starting with, let me just go by so starting with let me see. Starting with yeah, let's start with November, man. All right, so I'm gonna go by who they signed so far. So uh, November 20th of this year, um, Cole Sulser, non-roster invitee. The New York Mets signed right-handed pitcher Cole Sulser to a minor league contract with an invitation to spring training. Um, Carlos Guzman, the right-handed pitcher, um, to a minor league contract. Um, and let me see. And they signed Joseph Yabor to a minor league contract. Um, Luis Severino, um, former Yankee, signed with the Mets. Um, and Joey Wendo, also signed with the Mets. Austin Adams, which I'll do a breakdown on each of these players in a future episode. So Austin Adams, signed with the Mets. Kyle Crick also also signed a minor league contract with an invitation to MLB spring training. Um, Cooper Hamill, who they signed actually, is on unconditional release waivers. The New York Mets claimed DH Cooper Hamill off waivers. Um, Andre Scrub, another Mets right-handed pitcher, to a minor league contract. Um, let's see. Justin Slatton, um, traded to the New York Mets. No, hold on. The New York Mets traded right-handed pitcher Justin Slatton to the Boston Red Sox. Um, so Justin Slatton, drafted via Rule 5. New York Mets selected right-hand pitcher Justin Slatton in the Rule 5 draft. Um, I'll break that down too. Traded Ryan Emmons, the Boston Red. He got traded from Boston to the New York Mets, left-handed pitcher, and Michael Tonkin also signed with the Mets. And of course, the latest one that I heard was Jorge Lopez. All right, so that's pretty much what the roster is looking like right now. Let's see. That's pretty much what that is, man. Let me see if I covered all the bases, man. Um, actually, actually, Francisco Lindor did touch on on human beings, man. He did touch on that actually. Um, although his season has not been on par with his past success up to this point, Mets shortstop Francisco Lindor. Um, Francisco Lindor may have figured something out over these last few games after a trip to the barbershop. In his last 5 games, he is batting 267, 333, 800 with 2 home runs, 2 doubles, and 7 RBIs. While this is certainly a small sample size, the exceptional display of power is a positive sign for the Mets fans who have been clamoring for Lindor to return to his all-star form. In his post-game interview session with the media, Lindor jokingly credited his newborn daughter, his second, for his recent performance, noting, "Amapolo has brought me a couple of hits," while his body language indicated the the facious nature of this statement. It would not be outlandish to say that the impending birth of his daughter was a contributing factor towards his drop play in the weeks prior, despite their large stature in the baseball world. It is important for fans to understand that these athletes are human beings at the at their core that can be influenced by external factors. Lindor was not the only one to find success in Monday's contest against the Astros, as the collective offense was able to produce an astounding 11 runs in a landslide victory. Daniel Vogelback and Tommy Pham were among the main contributors to this outburst, as they combined for 4 hits and 4 RBIs. However, Lindor was clearly the star of the show, as he went 2 for 5 with 5 RBIs that were headlined by a towering 3-run home run that marked his 14th of the season. The home run traveled 361 feet with an exit velocity of 99.4 miles per hour, and it placed him in a tie with Blue Jays slugger Bo Bichette as the MLB leader in home runs among shortstops. On the other on the field after the game, Lindor humbly credited the communication among his teammates for the excellent defensive display. The guys that didn't get hits today, they had amazing at bats. And the communication in the dugout was very important, he said. While it can be tempting to focus on the box score when evaluating a player's performance, it is important to acknowledge the team aspect of baseball, where the largest contributions may come from someone who did not put up a loud performance. It is also refreshing to see Lindor exhibit leadership qualities by uplifting his teammates through his powerful words. Um, Lindor's home run and double came from the left side on Monday, and this is significant due to his widely known struggles from that side this season. To put this staggering splits into perspective, he was batting 197, 292, 340, 532 as a left-handed batter heading into Monday's game, as opposed to 250, 299, 613, 812 as a right-handed batter. If Lindor can regain being a viable threat from both sides, that can change the course of the Mets season with the depth that he will add to the lineup. Um, it should be noted that even despite his recent performance, he's on pace for the 30 homers and 100 RBIs. He acknowledged his struggles from the left side after the game in a relieved tone. He said, "I was fortunate enough to put the ball in play. It's been tough to do it from the left side," he said. "I just got to continue to grind and put my head down and work as hard as I can, whether or not this game marks the start of the hot streak for Lindor. it is very clear. It Yeah, it is clear that he needed this performance to mentally move forward from his previous struggles. Yeah, yeah, you know what? That's not a you know what? That's not a bad idea of a strategy, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. All right. Um, okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, and that was your quick side bleacher bar. We're gonna go into last thing of the day, and that is stream choices on the go. All right, let's do this. Make sure you go ahead and follow Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast, the sports edition show on Threads, Instagram, alongside with my other podcast shows that I do on a weekly basis, which is Meticulous Vibe Juice podcast. Off the Meat Rat Chains New York Avenue podcast, as well as myself, G Money Stacks 555 in Queens, New York. Turn your notifications so you can know and be notified when each of the time I will be on Instagram Live and recording episodes on there. So there you have it right there. Um, okay, let me just start off. All right, let me just say this though, man. If you go to the link in bio, if you go to the link in bio in my link tree, right, you're gonna see um a whole list of stream platforms for you to listen, stream, and watch these episodes. So it's gonna be Linktree slash Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Pod. All right. So starting starting with Odyssey, we are on Audible, Amazon Music, Breaker, Bullhorn FM, Castbox FM, Deezer, Listen Notes, Moon FM Podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, Podfriend, Podhound, Podo Polo, Podorama, Podcast Index, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Podverse, Podcast Guru, Podvine, Snit, Spotify for podcasters, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Google Podcasts, Radio Public, iHeartRadio, the number one app where you can listen to music, radio, and podcast episodes for free. You don't need a debit card or credit card to download iHeartRadio or any of the apps whatsoever. Um, and and of course, follow the podcast. Yes, follow the podcast on iHeartRadio as well as the other streaming platforms that I just mentioned. Um, and of course, you can also yes you can download. But I will say this though, you don't only have to download the episodes, but you can also add the podcast to your favorite playlist, like your Spotify. You have Castbox FM, you have Odyssey, you have Audible, you have stuff like Capsule FM, you have Google Podcasts, you have Moon FM Podcast, Player FM, Pocket Cast, um, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, of course, YouTube, which is where I'm going to get to right now. Make sure you go ahead and grab that subscribe button for me on the YouTube channel on the sports YouTube channel page of Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. All right. And of course, be sure to grab the subscribe button and along with alerts so you could be notified on when each episode will be dropping and will be uploaded and posted to not only YouTube but also on streaming platforms as well. All right. So, um and yeah, leave a like and a comment along with the episodes. Stay tuned for more video content and more and for you at home, if you missed out on any particular episodes whatsoever, don't worry. All you need to do is go ahead and like I said, subscribe and be able to catch up on the episodes, the live podcast episodes. All right. Everything's all there. And also be sure to leave a like and a comment along with the sports topics and listen, stream, and watch these episodes. And also be sure to actually, you know, you know, not only download, but add the podcast to your playlist so that way you will be notified on when each new episode will be dropping. So when you go on Spotify or any other streaming platforms where you have your playlist and stuff, make sure you turn your notifications so you'll be notified on when each new episode will be dropping. All right. So that that will be very, 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 very interesting to see, because that way you'll be able to not only morally support, um, but I want to follow up with this. Let me follow up with this. Hold on a second, folks. If you like to morally support me on on not only the sports podcast show that I do, but other podcast shows that I do, you can always um throw in some tips as far as like any amount of money, um, either in my Cash App, which is $ G Money Stacks 555, or you can do PayPal, which I have as well as a backup. So yeah, there you have it right there. My Cash App and my PayPal. So it's gonna be PayPal me slash G Money Stacks 555. No, excuse me, G Money Stacks Queens, New York. Sorry about that. Um So there you have it right there. And I want to actually mention here, um I get a chance to mention this. Hang on a minute if I mention this. Yes, Discord. If you like to communicate with me on Discord, you more than welcome to do that. My Discord is G Money Stacks 555. You can communicate with me on sports in terms of what's going on with the Mets, how the off season is going, how they could bounce back from the crazy shit that happened with Yoshinobu Yamamoto that went to the Dodgers and all that crazy shit, the same play that Otani did. And and other sports related stuff in baseball regarding the Mets signings and everything else, how you feel about it. I have a section for music and for music as far as like rap, hip hop, R&B, and all that other stuff. I have another section for movies and TV shows, and of course you can chat with me about anything. You know what I'm saying? So there you have it right there. Discord, G Money Stacks 555. All right. So there you have it. All right, man. All right, man. And also don't forget to s- tell a friend to another friend, spread the word. Word of mouth is important. And of course, share my Linktree link that has Linktree / Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks Pod. Um, make sh- yeah, yeah, make sure you share that with your husbands, your wives, your boyfriends, girlfriends, people you're cool with from work and everywhere else in between. All right. So that's gonna do it for me, man. I'm your man, G Money Stacks, aka the Gregonator. Thank you so much for listening to episode 68. Titled Predictions of the New York Mets roster for 2023. As far as like the signings and stuff. So I had to include that as well. So I'll be back with the next episode in a couple of minutes. And yeah, and hold on, let me give a shout out to somebody who just came in. Hold on. Hang on a second here. And shout outs to who's this? Hey. Shout outs to hang on one second here. Let me see who this is. Oh, okay. Yeah, sorry about that. Hey, thank you for watching. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. And yeah, but like I said, man, I'm gonna be back with the next episode. Remember, the grind doesn't stop. Hard work pays off. If you want something, you have to work hard and earn it because it's not gonna be given to you on a fucking silver platter. Okay. Um, and as far as like the recaps of certain topics in terms of the fucking downfalls the Mets had this year and how they actually got under 500 for the first time, which is crazy. It's fucking insane actually. That shit should never happen. But anyway, man. And and of course New York wasn't built in a day. Um you just have to trust the process, man. You know what I'm saying? You gotta trust the fucking process because not just because of David Stearns and Steve Cohen, but in general, because I noticed that a lot of people running out of patience and stuff. So, you really have to trust the process on things, man. You you know what I'm saying? You can't lose faith and hope, man. You know what I mean? So that's pretty much what I wanted to say on there. So yes, find something that clicks to you, follow your heart that makes sense. Don't let anybody stop you from following your goals and dreams and everything else in between. And and for the most part, listen, for the most part, I want you to know that you could have chose any particular sports podcast show that you wanted to listen to, but you chose to listen to this sports edition show, Excellent Fun Vibrant Talks podcast. I appreciate every single one of you for listening, and hopefully I'll be able to keep growing this out and everything else. And yeah, so like I was about to say, um yes, yes, I was gonna say, yeah, um, yes, follow your goals and dreams. Don't let anybody stop you. And of course, be on your P's and Q's on a consistency basis. Um, be confident in your craft and what you do. That gets you in that gets you more energetic on a creative basis, creatively, mentally, physically, and spiritually, that gets you into your zone alongside with tunnel vision. All right, I'll be back with the next episode in a couple minutes, man. Peace and one love, and I hope y'all enjoy your Christmas and your New Year's, man. And be careful out there. And I hope you guys are done with all the Christmas shopping that you need and everything else, so you don't have to go out the next day. So there you have it right there, man. I'm up out of here, man. Peace and one love. Enjoy the rest of your Christmas and the rest of your night.